Well, good evening, race fans. Come at you here. Um, Actually, it looks like I might have to get my sound adjusted. Hold on. Y'all are
FYI.
probably. Oh, hi. Howdy.
Oh, sorry. Are you live?
Yeah, I'm live.
Server number 3 is up.
Okay.
I apologize.
No worries. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and be another brief intermission here, folks, as we get things set up and sorted. Got to get it onto the next server here, so bear with me too. I'm going to use this brief moment here to test and see if the sound is just right. I must have been an update on iRacing that forgot all the settings I originally had, so after the Thanksgiving break, just a little bit of rust, it seems, getting back in the swing of things here, so alrighty, getting set up here now. Just about loaded back into the server. Third time's the charm, I'm hoping. Here we go. And already getting on track here for some practice laps. Right at 6:20 Pacific Standard Time, or in other words, 9:20 Eastern Standard Time. Well, welcome everyone in to the broadcast. Hopefully everyone enjoyed their week off last week with Thanksgiving and whoever else celebrated whatever else you did. Maybe not Thanksgiving or anything other, but here we are back in the swing of things here tonight. The SCSRA Dev Sports Cards Cup Series brings their longest race on the calendar here tonight in Charlotte. The equivalent of the Coke 600 for these guys. It's actually 300 miles, which is much longer than most of the other races on the calendar here in the SCSRA Cup Series. And it should be knockout, drag out, barn brawl here tonight. Some minor shakeups in our points battle from last week. We've had a different winner every week so far in the SCSRA Cup Series through 7 weeks strong. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the point standings here and give us all a rundown on where we sit in the point standings. So Jesse Whittington still has the top position, but that lead has shrunk slightly as he only has a 31-point advantage over the 43 of Garrett Walden. Sitting third in the points, you've got the 67 of Matthew Fritz, Charles Stevens in fourth, and Justin Parham in fifth. All five, the top five, separated by 70 points, as from second to fifth, they're all separated by 40 points from that position to fifth. A little bit deeper in the field, or in the standings that is, you got Ryan Gomes, Joseph Irwin, a handful of race winners right there. 5 of our 7 unique winners this season all sit in the top 8. Zachary Stevens has only started 2 races this year, 1 win on his name. He sits 24th in the points. And Travis Bennett, the road course killer, or road course ringer, showed down at Watkins Glen when we turned left and right earlier this season. Only made 1 start. We might see him back for, well, speaking of Travis Bennett, here he is in the field here tonight, running the number 01 Bucky's entry. So we'll get to see him fight amongst the stars, the SCSRA Cup Series here tonight. It's always a welcome sight to see some unique faces in the field. Another driver that we've not seen race this season, the number 2 there of Drafty Beef. I would have to get some confirmation on the name there. I don't believe that is his racer name, but Drafty Beef it is in the number 2 car, until I learn otherwise. Travis Bennett to the top of the board here in practice with the fastest lap so far. There you got the 99 of Kenneth Redinger, 84 of Charles Stevens Jr., 94 of Jesse Whittington, which we'll have alongside in the in-car cam here tonight. And so these drivers, they're getting set for an endurance race here tonight. Got to dig that paint scheme there, the Lions 3D design. It always brings a fresh new paint scheme to the racetrack each week here in the number 94 machine, and that one definitely, you'll be able to catch it on the racetrack. Hard to miss that one. Matt Parasini in the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet. So far, not seeing in the lobby yet for our race winner from the last race out at New Hampshire, Garrett Walden. Oh, there he is, number 43, just now popped into the server here. So last race's winner, Garrett Walden in the number 43. Are we going to see the trend continue here tonight? for 8 races and 8 different winners. Very possible when you've got drivers like Matt Pericini, who is still searching for that first win this season. He has had speed. He has the ability to get a win, as does Matthew Fritz, the number 67. I wouldn't count out the likes of Justin Parham either, who has had strong runs in and out for the first 7 races of the season. The field is definitely stacked, and who has the skill set approaching Charlotte here tonight? Even though it is a lot like, you know, most of the 1.5 mile tracks, there is some character to it that some drivers just have a knack for Charlotte. And, you know, not knowing enough of the past races here at Charlotte, I'm in for learning on who's got the skill set here tonight. And then you got Travis Bennett, who's so far this season 1 for 1, putting that record on the line here tonight, as could potentially go 2 for 2. You never know. And then you've got drivers like, you know, Joe Irwin here, who has the speed and always finds his way up front, but tends to put himself in vicarious positions that often lead to his undoing. So we'll see how well he handles Charlotte here tonight. As everyone's still cycling into the server here for tonight's race, the 300 miler at Charlotte. Go ahead and take this opportunity to give a call out to our sponsors here with Intensity Broadcasting. Of course, the first and foremost, tonight's broadcast is presented by Dev Sports Cards, primary partner of the SCSRA and a consistent supporter of the league. Their eBay store has a fresh batch of auctions closing soon, from star rookies to vintage chase cards, plus 25-cent combined shipping on qualifying orders. If you want to support the people who support sim racing, check out Dev Sports Cards on eBay before those listings expire. And of course, with the replays here tonight, Butt Kicker, bringing a whole new dimension to immersive entertainment. Butt Kicker has pioneered tactile feedback technology that lets you feel the action. Whether you're behind the wheel in a sim rig, watching a blockbuster in your home theater, or in the studio dialing in the low end. With 2 decades of industry leadership, their haptic transducers convert audio signals into physical vibration, turning sounds into sensations. If you've ever wished you could feel that racing shift, explosion, or bass drop, Butt Kicker makes it real. And ultimately, in racing, everyone prepares for the competitors they can see, but one of the toughest opponents a driver can face never shows up on the timing screen. The hidden opponent is tackling the mental health battle inside the helmet, educating athletes, supporting teams, and giving the racing community language, tools, and leadership to talk about what usually stays silent. Because when drivers confront the hidden opponent, it doesn't just make them faster, it makes the whole garage stronger. And check out the links in the description down below, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, or however else you're getting this race here tonight. I don't know if you're watching it from a fridge, maybe. I know you can do that. It's kind of fancy in the day and age that we live in, that you can be watching YouTube on on your fridge, which is just wild to me. I wouldn't know. My fridge is not that fancy, but they exist, and if you're watching this on a fridge, kudos. I think you would deserve an attaboy on that one, because that takes some die-hard Die-hard support right there. Well, so far we got 21 cars in the server. This lineup starting to stack up, and up here tonight we could see a pretty big field fighting for the win here tonight. As I already mentioned, a couple one-offs running here tonight. The number 2 of Drafty Beef. And if you're in the comment section and you confirm for me a correct driver name on the number 2 car, by all means. And I'm sure we're still waiting to get the rest of the folks in the server here for the event. Still sitting at 21 right now, which is a very solid turnout here for Charlotte. I don't know for certain if they'll let the whole practice session run through here, but very, very possible that they might let the practice session play out, which just means we got a little bit of extra time for the broadcast here tonight. Some bonus coverage that might be. Still top of the board here in practice, it is Travis Bennett in number 01. Matt Parasini, Kenneth Redinger, Garrett Walden, and Justin Parham. Some drivers maybe not showing their hand as much here in practice. You got Jesse Whittington in 15th. We know he's got the ability to start on pole. Joe Irwin, always fast, so maybe he's kind of testing the boundaries here in that 03 car. Definitely a different approach when you've got a endurance linked race like this one tonight. You got to start looking towards, you know, strategy calls, conserving tires, and potentially even gas mileage by the end of it. So all of these factor in to the racing here tonight. It looks like they may have ended the practice session. Yes, they did. Okay, so we're getting rolling into qualifying here, and we're going to go ahead and hot potato style jump around the racetrack and figure out who's doing what here. First off on the race course, you got the number 12 here of Trey Spears. And there will be some stage breaks here tonight. There will be 2 to be exact. Let me quickly verify on which laps those stage breaks are going to be. So stage break on lap 35 and lap 100, so right at the midway point, which would put us at a 100-lap shootout to the finish. We got Matt Parasini here in the number 24. Looks like he's going to get the first qualified time here between him and Trey Spears, actually, but he's just a hair ahead of the number 12. As he comes across the start-finish line, his first lap time is going to be good for a 29.39. Trey Spears at a 29.46. We've got Drafty Beef in 5th. Drops to 6th there as Joshua King hops up to 5th, taking a 29.55. Travis Bennett to the top with a 29.37 on his second lap here. We'll see if he can pick that up. As he comes across the start-finish line, his second lap is going to be identical to his last lap. Nope, just a little bit slower actually. 29.48. Still, he's top of the board right now. But here comes a heavy hitter from Denham Springs, Louisiana, Jesse Whittington. Number 94 team has been stout all year. There's a reason why he leads the points. But with Charlotte here tonight, this could be a pivotal race in the championship battle, as he had a bad race out at New Hampshire last race and kind of took a hit in the points. So 31 points now separates him from second place. He's looking to bounce back here tonight. New top of the board, Ryan Gomes with a 29.36. Identical lap time, Jay Stinson with also a 29.36. Jesse Whittington had to abort the run. Looks like Josh Hall had to abort his run as well. So we jump into the back here. Charles Stevens Jr. His first lap time was at 29.58, good for 13th. His second lap, slower, maintains a 13th in qualifying here. Matthew Fritz, his fastest time was a 29.38, good for 4th. Jay Stinson still good for 2nd. So we got 5 left out on track here. Jesse Whittington, Sharn Hill, Garrett Walden, Warren, Kyle Keith, and Kenneth Redinger. Garrett Walden jumps up to 8th fastest with a 29.47. Sharn Hill's coming across the line for his lap time here. And that is new top of the board, 29.25 on his first lap. Bumps Ryan Gomes back to 2nd. He was 11 tenths faster. Whoa, Jesse Whittington jumps up to the top with a 29.22. So the fast times are coming here. They're coming fast. Coming hard. Sharn Hill on his second lap. Slower, 29.44, but still good for 2nd at the moment. Only other driver left to fight for position, it looks like, is going to be Kenneth Redinger here. His first lap, 3rd fastest at a 29.34. And he's going to hang his hat up there. That was good enough. Settles for 3rd. And just like that, qualifying already coming to a close. We're getting ready for the starting lineup here. So, starting at the tail end of the field here, you got the 21st starter, Billy Titoff, with Josh Hall in 20th. Then you've got Jorge Ledesma Jr. and Charles Stevens Jr., 19th and 18th. Drafty Beef and Matt Bands, 17th and 16th. Joshua King and Justin Parham, 15th and 14th. And don't sleep on those drivers starting at the tail end of the field here. Being a longer race, they could work their way up to the front with strategy. You got Lauren Vincent and Garrett Walden, 13th and 12th. Joe Irwin and Trey Spears, 11th and 10th. Matt Parasini and Warren Keith, 9th and 8th. Matthew Fritz and Travis Bennett, 7th and 6th. And so your top 5 starters here tonight. You've got Jay Stinson, qualified 5th. Ryan Gomes, solid 4th. Kenneth Redinger, 3rd. Sharn Hill, 2nd. And pole position belongs here tonight to Jesse Whittington. As they are leaving pit stalls here. Hopefully all are excited for good old-fashioned barn brawl here tonight at Charlotte. This should be a good one. 300 miles, grand total of 200 laps. Charlotte always delivers. Doesn't matter whether it's the roval layout or the oval layout. You can throw trucks, you can throw legends, you can throw just about anything on this track. They've raced at this racetrack one point or another. So here we go. Pace car pulls off. Sharn Hill and Jesse Whittington will lead them to the start here tonight. Green flags to go. Here we are racing for the Coca-Cola 300. Off to the early lead here. Sharn Hill sticks his nose out front there in that clean air. Gets a spot away from 94, but 94 slide job. He's going to try to move back on the inside here. And just like that, Whittington back to the lead. Sharn Hill gets the lead lap there, so earns himself one lap lead here tonight. I'm adjusting the sounds down a little bit, so if it still doesn't sound right, folks, please do say so in the comments. I'm looking for that because iRacing decided to just do itself a lobotomy, I guess, and forget about my sound settings. So hopefully the cars are not overpowering my microphone. But things are getting settled in here. Single file at the front of the field. Top 5 breakaway as they're double file behind them there. Sharn Hill in second, Kenneth Redinger in third, and the 01 of Travis Bennett in fourth. Ryan Gomes up to fifth, so that's pretty much right about where they qualified here in the top 5 as they run right now. Gave me an idea too that I was messing around with the sound. I could almost do a crank it up here on intensity. And that was kind of cool. Kind of keep with the nostalgic broadcast coverage by doing neat little, I guess you could call it a gimmick. Gimmicks like crank it up. So we're 6 laps in so far. Jesse Whittington, your leader for the last 5. Sharn Hill, and they're spinning in the background. 31, that's Jay Stinson losing it there. I don't think he's going to get a caution, so unfortunately he's going to have to deal with losing all the track position. Let's see how this transpired. A little bit of a butt kicker replay here without a caution. As you're looking there at the 31 of Jay Stinson on the outside of the 24 of Matt Parasini. heading into turn 3, and I think it's going to be on the exit of turn 4 here. He gets a bump from Joe Irwin, the 03 car. Driving a little bit aggressively there, taking the 31 for a spin. But the good part is for the 31 of Stinson is they do have a stage break at lap 30. So he might just take this opportunity to kind of ride in the back, save his stuff, and address it once the stage caution comes out. Meanwhile, it still hasn't changed up front here. Go ahead and do a crank it up and in-car driver cam for the 94 with Jesse Whittington. Well, as you saw there in our segment, Sharn Hill with authority drove around the outside 94 of Jesse Whittington. That was a bold move. It's very hard to pass people on the outside, let alone doing on a 1.5-mile track like this. That's a very big power move there out of the number 5, showing that he got something with the setup here tonight to allow that car to pass on the outside. Kind of neat there, following along on the in-car cam on Jesse Whittington to see how, he reacted to that move there. It's still stoic and pressure, all that pressure, and he's still laser point focused on the racetrack ahead of him. And yet, even though the 5 Sharn Hill passed him on the outside, just kind of picked up the pieces and kept rolling. Fighting back from second here, and he still hasn't found a solution to getting back around the number 5. So Sharn Hill looking to try and take the stage win here, perhaps, as we're halfway through stage 1 here tonight. As the sun starts setting, the track itself will start changing. And I think we're starting to see that with the alternative line starting to factor in here. The 5 seems to have the high line figured out. 94, he's still using the low line. But because, kind of the dynamic changes here, aggressive banking also kind of factors in. These cars showing speed in different segments of the racetrack. how fitting for Sharn Hill. He's kind of running the Kyle Larson line. Number 5 car running the number 5 car line. It's very fitting here. That high line definitely something that Kyle Larson has figured out. Right in the cushion, dirt track racing, a lot of that factors into that. And here the 94 trying to figure out the high line here as well. Quite a few drivers figuring out the speeds up high here. And for Sharn Hill, prime strategy here is to mix it up and keep the 94, trying to think on what line the 94 needs to take to surpass the 5 car. So he'll run high one lane and then drop to the bottom on another lap, and it forces the 94 to get out of the comfort zone, figure out a way around. And just like that, you can see that, you know, that he closes the gap, but making the pass is a lot harder to do when he doesn't have that preferred line to run. Now the 94 having to run the high line again, the 5 drops it down low. It's a big game of chess here as they continue to throw punches left and right at each other. And it's like lap after lap, when you get to that high line, it's all but kissing the wall. Seems like the 5's got it figured out. He'll run the high line without clipping the wall. The 94, though, he's still trying to figure it out. It seems that the high line is not his comfort zone. We'll see if he has to do it again. No, he's going to stay low as the 5 stays high. 94 in a position to try and execute on the pass. He's got a nose on the inside of the left bumper. 5 carries the momentum past and keeps the lead for now. Here's 94. He drives it in deep. 5's going to have the outside momentum. He gets a little bit loose and clips the wall on the exit of turn 4, but keeps the lead away from the 94. Definitely a battle of strength, a battle of determination here. The 5 just keeping on the 94 here, keeping him honest. Superb side-by-side racing as the 94 is going to lead lap 24 there. And he's going to close the door on the number 5 of Sharn Hill. Sharn, that was a very stout run from the number 5 there, keeping the lead for a very good duration of time. So Sharn Hill, another one of our drivers that have not yet won this season. And it could keep things interesting here for the continued win streak of different drivers in different races. Other drivers still running in the field here that have not gotten a win yet this season. How about the 5th place driver of Warren, Kyle Keith? He's winless. Matt Parasini is yet to go to victory lane this year. Come close, though. He's definitely got the speed and the capabilities. You got the 19 of Justin Parham still seeking that first win. He sits top 5 in the points, so he's had a pretty solid season, consistent season so far. Matt Bands without a win yet. Trey Spears still seeking. Matthew Fritz still looking for that first win. Joshua King. Jorge Ledesma Jr., Lauren Vincent, Ryan Gomes, Josh Hall, Drafty Beer, Jay Stinson, all these drivers still looking for that first win. For Jay Stinson, he's already a lap down here tonight. and possibly going to go a second lap down here as the 94 closes the door on him. After getting by Sharn Hill, Jesse Whittington starting to drive away with it to the tune of a 1.3 second advantage. And there's only 2 laps left in the stage here. Joe Irwin must have had to serve a penalty for the contact on the 31 of Jay Stinson. So 3 cars, 1 lap down so far. The 31 of Jay Stinson, Joe Irwin, and Billy Titoff. Evidently, it seems that Joe Irwin might be out. Billy Titoff is 10 laps down here tonight, so. Now coming out of turn 4 for what would be the last lap here in stage 1. Looks like Jesse Whittington is going to close this chapter in the first stage here tonight with a stage win. So just got to bring it home here for the second half of this lap. 94 is going to continue to do 94 things this season. Multiple stage wins, only 1 race win, and he's had the speed to win many more than just that one. And here he is winning stage 1 here in tonight's Charlotte 300. Sharn Hill solid second, Kenneth Redinger third. Warren Keith and Matt Parasini your top 5 for the first stage here. And I wonder maybe if they're circumventing stage cautions here tonight, because I know for a fact that lap 30 should have been the stage. And the fact that this race is so long, I'm sure that... my bad. 35 is stage end. I don't know where I got off on 5 laps there, but it is my bad to double check that. So, stage not over quite yet. Jesse Whittington still expanding his lead, though, up to 2.3 seconds. 2.4. Kenneth Redinger and Sharn Hill racing side by side. Battle for second during the stage here. Warren Keith closing in like a shark in the water. Very impressed here with Sharn Hill's speed on the high line, as those two duke it out for second. Jesse Whittington driving away with it at the moment. Sharn Hill loses the second place and now tries to fight back with the 99. 2 laps left in the stage. And here comes the number 9. Warren Keith, up 4 spots since the start of the race, qualified 8th, running in 4th, and here he is knocking on the door of 3rd. It's right there close to the back bumper of Sharn Hill. Gonna drive it in deep here. As they come to the start-finish line, the 9's going to try to drive around the outside maybe. Door closes, though, and he's going to have to settle for 4th here at the end of the stage. Some more battles going on through the field here as they come to the start-finish line.
The yellow flag is out.
And that marks stage 1 conclusion here tonight. Stage 1 winner, number 94 of Jesse Whittington. Your current points leader, and tonight's stage winner. So yeah, it looks like Joe Irwin, I don't know if he got penalized for the contact or if there's anything there that but he is out of the race here tonight, credited with 21st, as Billy Titoff was able to drive around him on laps down to get around the number 03. A lot can be made or lost here during pit stops, especially in a long, lengthy endurance race like here tonight. So we'll keep an eye on pit road here, very specifically our top 5 drivers, and see how they fare coming off the pits. Looks like we've got 1 driver, 2 drivers staying out. I believe those are maybe our lap down cars trying to get their lap back, wave around. Fortunately for the 94, he's got the top pit stall here tonight from his qualifying position. Perks. Top 3 as they were just about running in the running order at the end of the stage. Sharon Hill was 3rd. And it's going to bring the 99 of Redinger up to 2nd. Warren Kyle Keith up to 3rd. As you can see there, Whittington, Redinger, Hill, Keith, Perisini, your top 5. Followed by Walden, Spears, Stevens, Parham, and Bennett, your top 10. Well, the next stage break will be lap 100, the midway point. That means we're going to have a 60-lap stretch here for the second stage, which should be just about enough for a fuel run. I know mostly it's going to be about a 55 to 60-lap window, so they should be able to make it. Maybe with a caution in between, we might see some takers down pit road. But for the most part, this 60-lap push is going to be an interesting one. Doubled up for the restart here. It's Redinger and Whittington leading them to the restart. This is our first caution of the night, so we were able to make it through stage 1 without a caution. Fortunately for Jay Stinson, he was probably wishing there was at least 1 caution after he got spun running in the top 10. Looks like his night's going to be a long one, as he's currently trapped a lap down in 19. Joe Irwin out of the race. Billy Titoff, multiple laps down, but he's still out there trying to fight for position. We're back and rolling. Jesse Whittington gets a big jump on the field here. The up to speed lap is always a frantic one in the Cup Series. Redinger settles into 2nd here. Sharon Hill settles into 3rd. Warren Keith up to 4th again. Matt Perisini. Last lap by Jesse Whittington turned his fastest lap of the day. 29.35. And that is the fastest lap of anyone right now. But everyone behind him keeping pace with his fast laps, it looks like. As the sun sets, it seems like the speeds are picking up. It doesn't take long for the new to kind of wear off on these tires. You'll get that one fast lap, and then it's kind of a plateau after that, dropping off the face of the cliff. 5 getting that outside line dialed in again here. Gonna try to get around the 99 of Redinger. They drag race down the front stretch. Whittington loves to see this in his rear view mirror. The more they get side by side, the further he can stretch out the lead. But for Sharn Hill, this is a moment he needs to capitalize on and settle back into second, which he does right there with authority. That number 5 back up into second. I think I might have seen a little bit of carnage in the background, but I'm not sure. Let me go back a lap, because it doesn't seem to have brought out a caution. Nothing came up on. I'll leave it be. I don't know if there was anyone that got into the wall, but it just kind of looked like it in my peripheral there. Very tight racing up here at the front of the field. So far, the biggest gainer here early on in the Charlotte 300, it is Charles Stevens Jr. Up 10 spots from where he qualified. He qualified 18th. He's made it all the way up into 8th. Unfortunately, the biggest dropper here tonight belongs to the number 55 of Ryan Gomes. Qualified 4th, and he's dropped back to 14th at the moment. And he's trying to defend on the number 2 there of Drafty Beef. Trying to take 14th from him as well. Now, Joe Irwin also has dropped 10 spots here tonight, but I think had something to do with the earlier contact with Jay Stinson. And Jay Stinson actually minus 14 from where he started, so drivers that were not tangled up in a wreck, Ryan Gomes has dropped the hardest. Your top 3 run just as they qualified, 1, 2, and 3. Jesse Whittington, Sharn Hill, and Kenneth Redinger. In a season that has been chronicled by immense parity, you gotta want to be that next driver, that first driver to get their second win this season. And so looking at names like Jesse Whittington, Garrett Walden, Charles Stevens Jr., drivers that have a win on the season, how much would it mean to become the first driver with 2 wins this season? Jesse Whittington had a chance earlier this year at Indianapolis to get that second win, but ultimately out-strategized and fell by the wayside, bringing it home third at the Brickyard. And so that one kind of stung for him. I remember him saying that he was definitely upset not to win. And you know, it's every racer's dream to take home a victory at the Brickyard. Doesn't matter if it's iRacing or, you know, IndyCar, NASCAR, however they race, they want to get that win in Indianapolis. And coming up short was definitely heartbreaking, and you could tell that it was one that stuck out to him, that it would have been nice to have secured the win. Just, you know, the immense history of that racetrack, I think, goes to show you how bad people want it. Well, tonight's kind of, you know, same song, different verse. When you look at Charlotte, the history at this racetrack, a lot of drivers want to win in the backyard of NASCAR. You know, getting a win at Charlotte kind of concrete cements your name with legends. It doesn't matter. It kind of outpasses even, you know, standards of video game land, racing and iRacing, NASCAR, whatever it might be. Charlotte is just one of those tracks you want to get a win at. And I'm sure we'll see the same emotions here tonight from drivers that, you know, might come up short, that they wanted to get that win here worse than any other race on the calendar. Part of the reason why we've got some extra names in the field, such as the 01 of Travis Bennett and the number 2 of Drafty Beef. Trying to get back around Sharn Hill, but Sharn Hill, while I mentioned earlier was harnessing his inner Kyle Larson, seems like he's also harnessing his inner Brian Newman. Hard to pass, very hard to pass. Good defense, good offense. Number 5 is showing some very well-rounded strength here tonight, and even if it doesn't convert over to a win, the rest of the field needs to look out. This 5 could be a threat for a race win before the season is over. Another battle brewing. The number 9 getting alongside the number 5 here. Nine's got to settle in, but he's going to try to take another stab at it here in turn 3. Good run out of the number 9. He might have a little bit of drafting help with the 24 Parasini. And as this battle's just getting good, there's a few other various battles throughout the field for positions gained, positions lost. Number 5 still defending. Number 9 showing some muscle though. Is he going to be able to close the deal? Get up on to the 3rd position here. Go. He has a bit of an edge on the inside line. Is he going to be able to close the door? Not quite. The 5 still has the outside advantage, but not for long. Here comes Warren Keith to close the door, taking over 3rd position. 24 trying to imitate the number 9 here. Getting alongside the 5. Definitely tough. He's got the speed to run up front, but all of a sudden the car kind of drops off. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Sharon Hill. Perhaps the tires kind of wearing out a little quicker on his machine while the other drivers are building up momentum to get around him. In a short shootout dash here tonight, though, that number 5 could be very dangerous. But if it gets settled into a long run like this, it seems like the car tends to drop off. Kenneth Redinger trailing by nearly a second on the 94 of Jesse Whittington. So let's take another side-by-side break here with our in-car cam and Jesse Whittington. That gap up a little bit, now down to 3/4 of a second. Warren Keith, he's about another 3/4 of a second behind Redinger. And now Matt Pearson is up to 4th, dropping Sharon Hill back to 5th. Redinger really closing the gap now. Jesse Whittington maybe struggled a little bit here. I don't know if the car getting away from him, but that 99 is right there knocking on the door. Clip the wall again. I'm wondering if maybe the car's getting busted up here, clipping the wall a few too many times. Dangers of running that high line, you just kind of push the boundaries a little too much, and the car pays the ultimate price. Well, this could be a scheduled stop, I'm not sure. But if the car really was getting away from him here, now was as good a time as any to make that pit stop. The big question is it going to force anyone else's hand to come down pit road? Maybe a big brain move here on Jesse Whittington. No, the race won't be won here without another pit stop. On the shortest, I think most drivers typically stretch it to about 50 laps here at Charlotte. When we got back to green on lap 40, that put us at a 60-lap window. Some drivers that might be gutsy enough to pull it out could maybe stretch it 60 laps. Usually it's just convenient to pit 50 laps in on a run so that you break it right down the middle with the standard cup races here at Charlotte, but I think you can push it to 60, so. Yeah, there's a lot of other drivers that made the pit stops here. It looks like Matt Parasini, Charles Stevens Jr., Trey Spears, Ryan Gomes, along with, of course, Jesse Whittington have all made their pit stop here. 25 laps left in the stage. And Redinger, he ain't gonna risk it. He's gonna come down. Is that relinquishes the lead over to Warren Keith here. Yet again, like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast here tonight, strategy, strategy, strategy. Sometimes you can out-strategize yourself. Sometimes you come out looking like a champion with the calls you make. What's a little bit different here in iRacing is usually there's no crew chief for these drivers on the pit stalls looking at analytics to make those calls and get the driver to come down pit road. The cool thing about at least most iRacing leagues is it comes down to the driver. They make that choice. They make that decision. And at the end of the day, the only one you can blame is yourself if you made a mistake. Can't call out the crew chief because you yourself are the driver, crew chief, pit crew, whatever it may be. You make the adjustments to set 4 tires, 3 tires, not 3 tires, 4 tires, 2 tires, or no tires. You can't take 3 tires. What am I talking about? These ain't no tricycles. But right now, Warren Keith playing the strategy game, staying out as long as he can here. Looks like about half of the field decided to pit, while the other half decided to stay out. Tail end of the drivers that have stayed out, you got Lauren Vincent running in 9th. Drafty Beef running in 8th. Travis Bennett running 6th as he just got by Jorge Ledesma Jr. Let's look at the race battles back here. It looks like there's some tight battles right there. That is 17 of Josh King and 67 of Matthew Fritz. 94, of course, Jesse Whittington on the tail end of the lap. He's trying to get back on the lead lap. So he's not on the tail end of the lead. He is lap down. His name is Blue, like he would be a lap down, so. But I do believe he is a lap down. drivers taking down pit road. You got the 67 of Matthew Fritz. Couldn't stretch it any longer. He decides to pit here on lap 82 with 18 laps left in the stage. Travis Bennett running in 5th right now. Redinger a lap down, trying to get around traffic here. Jorge Ledesma Jr. on the lead lap. Yeah, right now during this strategy run, got 8 cars left on the lead lap. And by golly, Warren Keefe might try to do the stage strategy break here. Break the strategy wide open. Eventually, you still got to pay that fee. After the stage break, you're going to have to pit. And you're going to end up giving up the lead, so... Short-term boost for what game? 15 laps to go. Stage win might be worth it for him though here. If he's thinking a different strategy here, the stage win bonuses could start adding up. You never know, especially if you're trying to fight to get into a playoff position. Drives for Royalty Motorsports. Matt Bain's a teammate to him in 2nd right now, also for Royalty Motorsports. Jorge Ledesma Jr. racing for Revved Up Racing, and he's coming down pit road here on lap 88. Brings Travis Bennett up to 3rd. Obviously for Travis Bennett, he's not really playing the same game here tonight. He's not looking for points. He's looking for a race win. So to get off strategy here could be advantageous, but it looks like he's going to have to succeed or surpass the strategy and come down pit road here on lap 89. One that's kind of blowing everyone away here though, Warren continues to stretch it, and he's going to stretch it to lap 90. Which put him at a perfect 50-lap run. And running up front, he could probably stretch it 60 laps, but I don't know if he was saving enough fuel leading this race to justify gambling on those final 10 laps there. So now, the lead is going to get swapped back on over here to the 94 of Jesse Whittington. He's got nearly a 2-second advantage on Kenneth Redinger. I don't know if I'm going to count Warren Keith out quite yet. And there we go. He gets passed by the number 94 of Jesse Whittington on the backstretch. But holy cow, what a strategy call from Warren Keith. What was probably going to be about a top 10 stage run here. He comes back out in second. He must have took a quick gas and go, because I don't think he could have swapped 4 tires that quickly. Possibly a 2-tire stop with the fuel. Kind of makes you wonder if he expects to pit again on the stage brake to get a fresh set heading into the second half of this race. I'd say that was a net gain for the number 9 team. Definitely strategized right there and still found a way to come out in striking distance on the race leader. Taking 2 tires on the pit stop would give you a slight advantage on the now nearly 20 laps for tires of Jesse Whittington. Last 7 laps of the stage here. Well, and just like that, Jesse Whittington started to stretch it out again. So let's hop around and see where some of the battles are brewing right now with 6 laps left in the stage. This right here is a battle materializing for 7th place. You got Trey Spears in the number 12, right ahead of the 24 of Matt Parasini. Another battle starting to kind of come together here. The 17 of Josh King and Matthew Fritz. Not a lot going for this position back here, but it's still a battle. Stage break won't pay out points this far back. We've got another battle up at the front of the field here. That is the 19 of Justin Parham trying to hold off the 84 of Charles Stevens Jr. Oh, and Kenneth Redinger gets by the number 9. Warren Keith, I imagine the strategy doesn't put him in a very perfect scenario at the moment, but the stage break will definitely save him losing many more spots here from his long call strategy. Making a move on Bennett here for 12th place. And so he gets by the 01 car there. Oh, Justin Parham clipped the wall hard there. That is the lap traffic there of Billy Titoff between the 2 lead lap cars of Parham and Stevens. And it's managed to make this a very intriguing battle as you've got the lap car duking it out with the lead lap cars. And Parham, he just constantly getting hounded by the 79 there of Titoff. It's constantly opening the door here for Charles Stevens Jr. to try and execute lap 100 as we're going to be officially halfway through this here tonight. Stevens right up on the back bumper of Parham. Titoff not laying down. He's trying to fight to get laps back.
The yellow flag is out.
As the other drivers are fighting to lead laps eventually. And that is a wrap for stage 2 here tonight. Jesse Whittington gets the win for both stages here tonight. The 94 perfect in the stage wins here. Can he make it a perfect trio, getting the wins in the stages and the eventual race win? We'll have to see. But already on the right foot here tonight, dominating the first half of this race. And yet again, only the second caution here tonight. We have not seen any cautions for actual wrecks on track. It has been stage break 1 and stage break 2 is our only cautions here so far tonight. Could the intensity amp up though here in the second half? Drivers definitely minding their P's and Q's right now. That could all change as soon as the green flag drops on the final stage here tonight. Well, maintaining his lead here tonight, Jesse Whittington comes out of the pits first. Warren Keith second. Justin Parham third. Charles Stevens Jr. fourth. And Kenneth Redinger drops back to fifth. Sharn Hill makes up some positions back into sixth place again. Trey Spears seventh. Matt Parasini eighth. Ryan Gomes ninth. And Garrett Walden 10th. Getting ready for the restart here on lap 105, leading them. Another unique pairing restart in the field here tonight. You got Warren Keith joining the front for the restart here for the first time on a restart. One constant though has been Jesse Whittington, always up front. Whittington and Keith lead them through the
Green, green, green.
We're back and rolling. Keith kind of slow rolling on the restart there. Parham, he gets his way up to second. Potential for another unique winner this season. The 19 of Parham, not yet to victory lane. He's up 12 spots from the start, sitting in second at the moment. Biggest gainer though, Charles Stevens Jr. up to fifth, plus 13. This could get interesting as there will be at least one round of pit stops. Trey Spears was getting a little bit of action there. It looked kind of topsy-turvy as the 5 of Sharn Hill's right behind him. New fastest lap in the race, the number 19 of Justin Parham. A 29.16 tops the fast lap that Jesse Whittington just turned at a 29.21. Just like that with the fastest lap, now drops to third. The 9, Warren Keith, jumps up to second. And we get lined out in the file. Charles Stevens Jr. in the top 5 for the first time here tonight. Could he have something to say for the race win? A lot of movement through the field here. Like the 01 might have clipped the wall there. Travis Bennett, oh no, and Sharn Hill got into the wall too. Go back a lap and see how that happened. Oh, makes contact with the 12. We saw those two getting into it a little earlier. And unfortunately, Sharn Hill made contact there, losing control of it. Keeps rolling, but with what damage, we'll have to see. Trey Spears moves up into the top 5 for the first time here tonight. Still a lot of smoke and sparks here as the lights have come on full force. Transition tonight has taken its full form. Hopefully during that halfway stage break, they were able to throw some changes at these cars to get the setup just right. Warren Keith closing the gap here on Jesse Whittington. This could get interesting. I guarantee you Warren Keith is not going to try the strategy that he did during stage 2 there, where he stayed out as long as he could. As soon as that window opens up, he's probably going to take the opportunity to pit so they can make it on one stop here tonight. So in a way, that second stage was kind of a test. I think he was testing the waters to see if he can make the car go 50 laps to break this 100-lap stage right down the middle. I guarantee you Jesse Whittington could probably have pulled off, 50-lap run during stage 2 as well, but at what cost? It was amazing to me to see Warren Keith still came out second even after taking a long overcut strategy. Typically, if you're taking the long overcut, the drivers that take the undercut get out there with fresh tires and totally obliterate your lap times. So the fact that the number 9 was able to prove he can make that work is impressive in its own. And even under standard pace right now, he's closed the gap. He's right there on the back bumper of the 94 of Whittington. This could be a big change in the momentum for what we've seen here tonight. Jesse Whittington has dominated so far, but his constant competition has definitely been this number 9 Ford of Warren Keith. Bounce back here real quick, side-by-side racing. Getting a little bit racy, a little bit dangerous. They'll once right up on the back bumper of the 72. 12 dropping some more spots here. Sharn Hill gets back around the number 12. What originally transpired is contact with the 12 dropped him back. Seems like the 5 may not be all that damaged after hitting the wall as hard as he did. And Travis Bennett, on one of his rare one-off starts this season, having a good top 10 run so far. He's duking it out with some of the best from the season so far. Warren Keith keeping that gap very tight here at the front of the field. Most of the gaps right now, they're all pretty tight throughout the field. Only one kind of, I guess lollygagging would be the 99 of Kenneth Redinger, as he doesn't have anyone near him, and he's not close enough to the top 2 here. That and Justin Parham kind of sitting in an island of his own, but Garrett Walden starting to close in on him as well. But for Kenneth Redinger, he's probably just kind of biding his time, knowing that he ain't going to win the race on lap 120. Save his stuff and try to push hard when it matters the most once they get into the last 20 laps of the race. But for Warren Keith, this has got to be a big morale boost, knowing that he can run with Jesse Whittington here. Could Whittington possibly be doing the same though, saving his stuff, knowing that he ain't going to win the race here on lap 121? Might as well, you know, just try to stretch this one as long as he can and then go all the way in the final 50 laps. One thing these drivers probably have figured here for tonight is there might not be any cautions. The way things have been run so far, it's been clean, it's been calm, it's been calculated. So you got to kind of wager on the cautions too, and perhaps the lack thereof cautions. So for Jesse Whittington, that changes his approach here in the second half. Maybe save his stuff, knowing that there may not be a caution, to conserve what you've got so that you can make it work for you in the end. Trying to keep my eyes on any other battles throughout the field. Looks like Matthew Fritz and Drafty Beef getting side by side down the front stretch. It's been a bit of a rough night for Matthew Fritz. We're usually pretty used to seeing him running up at the front for Venom Racing. But tonight, maybe just not having the skill set for Charlotte, or perhaps just a race where everyone else showed up to the plate. So Fritz still making battle, still making moves. He's going to try to get up to 12 here and hold on to that spot. There's still a lot of laps left, and there's a lot of room for him to make up. He could make up some more spots and get into the top 10 here. For him, that'd probably feel like a victory. The gap up front starting to kind of spread out a little bit, about a half-second advantage for Jesse Whittington. Kenneth Redinger 1 second back from that. Battle around 12th place is probably one of the hottest battles on the track right now, as you've got Fritz in 12th, Drafty Beef in 13th, and Jorge Ledesma Jr. in 14th. They're all within a straight shot of each other. Kind of spreading it out, running different lines here. Sharn Hill, he's fallen back the furthest he's been here tonight in 11th. Car maybe not as happy after he made contact with the wall. And we got Matthew Fritz trying to close that gap on Sharn Hill. Just ahead of that, you've got Josh King, Travis Bennett, and Matt Bans. Matt Bans and under attack here by the 01. Ahead of that, you got some more battles brewing. And here we have the 01 of Travis Bennett looking to maybe try and take over 7th position here. Correction, 8th place, not 7th. On the move to try and get into 8th place. Warren Keith trying to close that gap again. Actually, quite the opposite. He's losing the gap as Kenneth Redinger's right there knocking on the door. Travis Bennett loses a spot, falls back to 9th as Matt Bans makes full possession of 8th. Here we go, coming down the front stretch side by side. That's only helping Jesse Whittington more. Redinger loses the advantage he had there and has to settle back in line behind the number 9. Matt Bans, I don't know if something happened, if he got spun out. Oh, he did. And I wonder if that had anything to do with contact from possibly the 01 of Travis Bennett. No, it was a solo spin here from the 72. Matt Bans was running right ahead of the 01 car there. Travis Bennett loses it, tries to recover, but then once you get into the paint, and honestly, he'd already lost it before getting into the paint there. The car loses all control. Sliding through the grass, getting a little bit of air. Not quite Ryan Priest level of air, but he's spinning across the Coca-Cola sign on the infield, which is definitely not where you want to be at any point in the race. Warren Keith also, what happened to him? Falls back to 18th. A lot of stuff going on, so we're gonna kind of follow this back to live. We're still on replay here, but something happens to the 9 of Warren Keith. As he's running in 2nd. 99 of Kenneth Redinger trying to close up on him again. Reason I know is it shows him with the live tracker at 18th. Looks like he decides to make a pit stop here on lap 132, which is not really cutting it down the middle. That's gonna be man, when he's out there with the strategy, it's full force on the alternate strategy here tonight. Decided to stay out late during the stage and now decides to come in way early during the final stage of the race. So in the meanwhile, it's still Jesse Whittington up front, leading over Kenneth Redinger, Justin Parham, Garrett Walden, and Matt Persini. Top gainer here tonight, Charles Stevens Jr. up to 6th. Travis Bennett in 7th. Joshua King in 8th. Sharon Hill in 9th. Matthew Fritz up to the top 10 for the first time in a while here. And he gained that mostly on the spinner of Matt Bands and the pit stop of Warren Kyle Keefe. He was able to get around the 2 of Drafty Beef, it looks like, and he's holding Jorge Ledesma Jr. off for now. Ryan Gomes closing up on the number 2 car here. Number 2 stays low. Wow, what a wild looking move there. Gomes stays high, side by side into turn 1. And here comes Warren Keith with what I can only imagine to be fresh tires and a full tank of gas. So unless he is plotting for a caution here tonight, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it without having to stop one more time here, where he pitted on lap 132. The best he could probably do is make it to about 188 if he's really stretching it. So maybe banking on a caution or something to unfold here tonight. Matthew Fritz looking to make a move here for 9th place. He's alongside Sharon Hill. I feel like Sharon Hill's car isn't quite the same after making contact with the wall a little bit earlier. He made contact with the 01 of Bennett. I'm losing track already. He made contact with the 12 of Trey Spears, I want to say. That was it. Here comes Warren Keith, another Keith sighting as he's climbing through the field at a rapid pace here. Well, let's take another opportunity here to hop in with our in-car cam featuring Jesse Whittington here. Well, looks like we might have a couple more retirements here tonight. Number 2 of Drafty Beef, the number 12 of Trey Spears are now both out of the race. That leaves us with 18 cars left running. Billy Tidoff, Jorge Ledesma Jr., Warren Keith, all of which are lapped down right now. Keith, though, on alternate strategy, he's trying to get back on the lead lap. Matt Baines is the last car on the lead lap for now. So for Whittington here, it's looking like he might be trying to cut it right down the middle, run about 50 laps. Pit and then try to push hard for the final 50 laps. For Warren Keith, though, I'm really wondering if he's going to try to stretch it on fuel mileage here. The fact that he pitted so early on the initial run here on lap 132, and he already showed that you know, he could only make it 50 laps in stage 2, so he's really going to have to save hard to make pitting at lap 132 even factor into this. There's no telling, maybe there was bluffing and not showing his hand. Maybe he could have made that final 10 lap and decided to pit. You know, maybe he was doing some mileage number count and realized it's like, you know what, I'm gonna pull it down and make people think I can only go 50 laps on a run here. So as of right now, Jesse Whittington has drove under green flag laps here for the last 47 laps. Billy Tidoff comes down pit road. Matt Pericini comes down pit road. Sharn Hill pitted. Looks like Jesse Whittington's been able to stretch it 48 laps here. And as it's going to turn out, he'll have about 48 laps left to go for the second half. Your new leader, number 43 of Garrett Walden. Joshua King up to second and Matthew Fritz in third. They are trying to stretch it a little bit longer here to see how late in the run they can go. But as of right now, Warren Keith stands to gain the most from his early pit stop, the undercut. As he's 12th right now, he's picking them off one by one. He is now ahead of Jesse Whittington as they are trying to rejoin the racetrack. He has a sizable 6-second advantage over Kenneth Redinger, who would be the first car back out of the lead cars that have pitted. 7.8 seconds. I don't know how the math's up with that one, but for whatever reason, Warren Keith on the undercut, well, and it kind of does math up because he's been out there on fresher tires. So the advantage goes to him briefly here, but is his tires going to drop off the face of a cliff? While he's got about a near 8-second advantage over Kenneth Redinger, 45 laps to go, will he have enough gas? And will his tires hold up to the challenge? Lauren Vincent and Ryan Gomes, last two cars not yet to pit. Lauren Vincent stays out here. He might be able to get credited with the lead lap, and he will. Lauren Vincent leads a lap here during caution transitions. And for him, maybe hoping to see a caution here as that would put 11 cars on the lead lap. Obviously, he would have to relinquish the lead to pit during any caution. But for him, that's kind of the strategy call right now, is to try and stay out and fish for a caution. It would trap a few contenders a lap down, as they'd have to get the wave around here. He's even turning and coasting. He's turning off the engine and coasting around the track here, trying to save immense amounts of fuel, hoping for that miracle caution to drop here. But what we do know from seeing this is you can stretch it roughly about 55 laps, and that's just what Lauren Vincent did right there. 55 laps on a tank run there. For Warren Keith, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to stretch the fuel numbers. He's got a 5-second advantage over Kenneth Redinger. Justin Parham in third. Garrett Walden and Jesse Whittington falls back to fifth. Unfortunate for Jesse Whittington to have lost so much track position under the caution there. Or no. Green flag pit stops. Still haven't seen a caution under race pace yet. Advantage now 4.5 seconds. Now down to 3.8 seconds. This is becoming a very much uphill battle for the number 9 to actually pull off, as he's going to have to go another 40 laps on the fuel mileage and the tires here. It's going to be a tough one. If he does pit, it's going to be a two-stopper, and he's going to try to outrun everyone who's stretching the tires further than most. I still don't think that's going to be a winning strategy, though, is the problem. He's kind of made his bed, though. If Kenneth Redinger gets around him, he's going to have to pit. It's almost a guarantee that he's going to pit as soon as he loses the lead here. Kenneth Redinger does have a win so far this season. Currently sits 8th in the points, 87 out of the lead. But amongst the drivers to the top 5, he's about 18 points from top 5 here tonight. With a bad run from Joe Irwin, he's going to definitely pass Joe Irwin for 7th. Ryan Gomes is having a decent run, but it's not quite enough to keep him behind, so he might get by Ryan Gomes as well. The only other guy further out of reach from him is Justin Parham, and Parham having a good race as well. So. Alrighty. Bands and Vincent might be able to get their lap back here as they're catching up to the leader, Warren Keith. They're obviously on fresher tires, so they might be able to stay ahead of Kenneth Redinger here. So of our drivers in the top 5, 3 of which already have a win this season: Kenneth Redinger, Garrett Walden, and Jesse Whittington. And then you've got the likes of Justin Parham still seeking that first win this season. Warren Keith, of course, who's leading the way right now, but he won't be leading for long. Matt Parasini in the number 24 also looking for the first win this season, and he's been trending in the upward direction after last week or the last race out, the podium at New Hampshire, has managed to get him up to 11th in the points. The lappers get around number 9 there of Warren Keith. At this point, he's about 35 laps into this run, and you can see the difference. His car nowhere near the speed of the 99 of Redinger. Redinger gets alongside of him, and that might change the game call yet again for the number 9 of Warren Keith. If he does pit here with 33 laps to go, that means he could go wide open with the final push. Whoa, the 07 of Vincent gets into the wall hard. All you could see was the smoke ahead of our leaders there. He was able to keep it going in the forward direction. Definitely looks scary in front of your leaders there. That could have been bad. I'm amazed though, Jesse Whittington, unfortunately, pit strategies have kind of shuffled him out at the moment. Right at 31 laps left to go. They are by far the most spread out that they've been here tonight, as you got some globs of drivers separated by 7 seconds. Some of the drivers separated by a second plus, 8 seconds, 4 seconds, 2 seconds, all around the board, all over the board. Top 5 though, very much within the same zip code, as they're all right about 2.5 seconds from each other. Jesse Whittington trying to mount a comeback here. Got his work cut out for him. So for Warren Keith, he's kind of just racing to lap 190 at the moment. That would put him at about the prime position to pit for the final time here tonight. The way this strategy's kind of panned out, almost felt like maybe he would pit now and try to use the advantage of fresh tires to really close the gap. But even then, I don't know if there'd be enough laps for him to make it work. He's going to fall back to third here as Garrett Walden gets alongside of him there, taking over the second position from the number 9. And here comes Justin Parham with a good run. Well, for Garrett Walden, who just won the last race out and has closed that gap to Jesse Whittington down to 31 points. Another race here tonight, heads up against Jesse Whittington. He might be able to gain some more points on the championship tally, making this championship battle all that more interesting. The series does host a playoffs though, so I mean the regular season championship is just that. It doesn't equate to a whole lot. Now it looks like Travis Bennett retired from the race now too, so we're down to just 17 cars left running. Travis Bennett had a good run going in here tonight, had a top 10 car, and at times maybe even a top 5 car, but here we are closing it down, 25 laps to go. 15 cars left on the lead lap, 2 cars running laps down here tonight. Warren Keith, fortunately for him, that strategy call is not panning out as he's fallen backwards here. He's about to fall to 5th. Jesse Whittington on the attack. In the meanwhile, though, Kenneth Redinger is going to have to defend Garrett Walden here. Justin Parham just kind of hovering in the background. Lap traffic's going to start factoring in here as Matt Bands and Lauren Vincent are ahead of your leaders. Kind of cool that Kenneth Redinger brought out the Lowe's paint scheme at Charlotte, which used to be called Lowe's Motorspeedway. And kind of a fun fact about the track was it was owned by Jimmy Johnson for many years there. And how fitting, the guy that drove the Lowe's race car was getting all the wins at Lowe's Motorspeedway. So I feel like there may be a connection there. Kenneth Redinger maybe picking the Lowe's paint scheme to harness his inner Jimmy Johnson here tonight at Charlotte. And it seems like it could possibly pay off, but he's going to have to defend against the hard-charging 43 of Garrett Walden, who might be harnessing his inner Richard Petty here tonight. Number 43, Valvoline scheme. Only, I guess, a little different because usually it was STP. I feel like at one point or another, Valvoline is probably... Richard Petty was always pretty loyal to his brands, and I don't think he strayed very far from STP, so... But with the 43 on that car, definitely still harnessing his inner Richard Petty. Fight for the win here tonight. He's caught up to the 99 of Kenneth Redinger. And this could get interesting. Is the lap traffic going to factor in? Is it going to hold the 99 up and give the 43 a door? That door is wide open. He's knocking and he hits the wall. Clips it. I don't know how that didn't cause more commotion, but the 43 still right there. You know, that's iRacing for you, though. What should have been a race-ending wall slam like that. That car's still rolling. I should have broke an A-arm on the front right, but they don't care. They're still rolling. They're still catching up to the 99, and here we go. Battle brewing again. 19 laps to go. Don't count out the 19 of Justin Parham lurking in the background in the shadows there. Jesse Whittington also trying to make up for lost time. As it sits right now, 1-2 would be a repeat winner. Oh, 3 wide. I don't know how that didn't get ugly, but the 43 is driving with reckless abandon here. That 43 made it 3 wide and kept it glued in the throttle. On the outside now, the 99 losing the position as Garrett Walden takes the top spot. Lap traffic definitely threw these guys a curveball and gave us quite the show there as they're duking it out. 19 of Parham. He's lost a little bit, probably from the slight scare. I'm sure that was a code brown in some cases, and the 19 getting loose. Man, is that on lap traffic for that? Let's go back a lap and see if the 44 actually makes contact or if the 19 just loses it on his own. No way, the 44 lap traffic does clip the 19 of Parham. Heartbreak, man. That's not even his fault, but the lap traffic factors in, unfortunately. And he recovers. Wow, what? we missed another one there. The 44 just bulldozing through the field or what? That was the 99 of Kenneth Redinger, I think, that got clipped and spun. Dude. Yeah, let's watch this, because I just got to see what happened, because the 99 got loose, and I don't know if it was on him or lap traffic. Sure enough, a double whammy from the 44 of Jorge Ledesma Jr. just bulldozed his way. Kind of, created the same effect for the 19 of Parham and put Redinger back with Parham. Garrett Walden's losing it. What in the world is going on here, folks? Our leaders getting taken out left and right. That was a triple whammy. 44 of Jorge. Oh, man, I think the 43 just lost it. I don't want to put that one on the 44 of Ledesma. But holy cow, now Redinger to the lead. And now Justin Parham very much in the fight. "13 laps to go." I am sorry, folks. I'm trying to keep up with all the chaos on track. A little bit slow with all the chaos and trying to give you the replays without any breaks in the racing action, as this thing has gone caution free apart from the stage breaks. So the 44, I don't know if there's going to be some scrutiny on the moves that were made there, but the 44 definitely factored into the race win here tonight. Running into the 19 of Parham, running into the 99 of Kenneth Redinger, and still slightly involved with the spin out of the 43 from the lead. As you saw, the 43 kind of got arrow loose, and the 44 was right there on his bumpers. So and the 9 of Warren Keith, obviously with fresher tires, it looks like he's flying around the racetrack like Superman right now. He's passing him nice and clean, though. He's not running through like a bulldozer. He's losing ground here. That car a little bit out of control. And there goes the 9 of Keith, running that high line. Whoa, right into the side door, the 31 of Stinson. Keith up to 11th now, and he's trying to get his lap back. He's going to try to go high. Now he thinks about going low here. Almost got to wonder if Redinger knows that this is a lap down, number 9. Most points tonight, the 9 was for position, for a battle, for... And this is not for the lead, so he might as well just let the 9 by. There's no reason to try and defend and hold him off. He's got the fresher tires, he's got the speed, he wants to get around and get that lead lap back. We don't want any repeat offenses from what we saw out of like 44 here. Oh, and that was close, getting right in front of the number 9. Here goes Keith with the fresh tires and faster car alongside the 99. But the fact of the matter is they're side by side. This could help bring Parham back in range. So 99 settles back in line here. Kenneth Redinger looking to become the first repeat winner this season. All he's got to do is close it out for the final 6 laps here. Justin Parham was going to have an opportunity to become the 8th different winner in 8 races, but he's got his gap to close here. 1 second disadvantage to the 99 of Redinger. And that's going to be interesting to interview our podium at the end of this one. I hope it's very kind words. I don't want to hear any discourse over the 44 lap traffic bulldozing his way through, but we'll see. That was pretty wild segment of the race here tonight. And for Jesse Whittington to come back with a potential 3rd here. A good recovery for the 94 team after losing all that track position under pit stops. So in a way, Kenneth Redinger, even after getting a love tap out of the 44, has found his way back to the front of the field here. Him and Justin Parham both get to share the unfortunate experience tonight by getting a love tap running in front of a lapped car. Two laps to go. As long as they see the white flag next time by, this race will be official. Justin Parham, he's going to have one more last-ditch effort to try and catch this 99. Doesn't seem like the 72 is going to hold up Redinger very much here. But Parham's going to have to close a monstrous gap now, as it's 0.8 seconds, and that's not likely to happen within 2 laps. Final lap, white flag waving. One more lap to go here in the Charlotte 300. For the longest race here tonight, these drivers their tongues are going to be hanging out after this one. They're just going to be glad to bring it home. Jesse Whittington closes in on Justin Parham, but is he going to be able to secure 2nd? Rolling through the turns, it's going to be Kenneth Redinger taking the win here tonight. Coming home 2nd, Justin Parham. 3rd, Jesse Whittington, Matt Parasini, Charles Stevens Jr. With a 5th place finish here tonight, he is your biggest gainer, plus 13 to the good. Man, what a wild, crazy finish to this race here tonight, folks. Kenneth Redinger gets to celebrate his 2nd win on the season. A little bit of fortunes from the Lowe's paint scheme, I would say, here at Charlotte Motorspeedway. It doesn't look like we're going to get any victory donuts here, so probably just kind of recovering, catching his breath after a long, hard-fought battle here tonight. I mean, no cautions other than the stage breaks. Pretty much nonstop from start to finish here tonight. That is probably one of the hardest fought battles, especially being an endurance length race at 300 miles. So Kenneth Redinger just chilling on the start-finish line here, catching his thoughts, thanking his team. And we'll go ahead and look over the official results here tonight. So, of course, bringing home the win here tonight, it is Kenneth Redinger. A solid second place finish was Justin Parham. Third place, Jesse Whittington. Fourth place, Matt Parasini. And fifth place, Charles Stevens Jr. So 2 of your top 5 there belongs to Cypress Academy between Charles Stevens Jr. and the 94 of Jesse Whittington. Matt Parasini as well, my bad. Fourth, so 3 of the top 5. Justin Parham driving for Venom Racing, bring it home second, and also Venom Racing with the win in Kenneth Redinger. Continuing the Cypress Academy trend, you had Garrett Walden with 6th, so 4 of their drivers, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Royalty Motorsports, Joshua King. And then Ryan Gomes for Neon Racing coming home in 8th. Matthew Fritz and Venom Racing 9th. Warren Keith bringing it home 10th for Royalty Motorsports. Then you had Matt Bands, Jay Stinson, Lauren Vincent, Sharn Hill, Jorge Ledesma Jr., Josh Hall, Billy Tidoff, Travis Bennett, Drafty Beef, Trey Spears, and Joe Irwin. And so we're going to go ahead and interview our podium finishers here tonight. First off, on the interview for your 3rd place finisher, none other than your current points leader, Jesse Whittington. Jacob here in the booth, do you copy, Jesse?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, how about that? That was a wild turn of events there at the end of the race. Seemed like strategy, maybe pit stops kind of affected you in the wrong direction there. What exactly happened within the last half of the race here tonight?
I mean, to be completely honest with you, it was just my own mistake. I went to Enter Pit Road, and I saw that I was a little too fast, got on the brakes a little too hard, slid through my pit box a little bit. Uh, yeah, big time what if. This is another one. We had a really good race going on at Indy, and just like over there, you know, doesn't all play in your favor. And that's how it is sometimes. It's racing. Congrats to Ken and Justin for the podiums. It just is what it is. Although I gotta say, I hate it for my teammate Garrett. He still somehow finished P6, but man, all 4 of us that showed up tonight, P3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm proud of these guys.
Well, it happens to the best of us, and sometimes, it's just getting in that state of mind and staying in that state of mind for a long duration of time can be hard. And so, still being able to come back for a 3rd place is beyond awesome, and a stellar comeback for sure, even with the mistakes that were made. Other than that, I mean, you won stage 1 and stage 2, so points-wise, you should walk out of here with pretty good points. You had the points lead rolling in. You'll probably keep that. What is your thoughts rolling into the final half of the season? How do you feel with the tracks lining up for the the push to the playoffs?
Let me be completely honest with you. Let me look at the schedule real quick. So let's see. Next week we got Atlanta. I'm not a huge fan. I'm excited for Martinsville. I feel like the playoffs are a lot of tracks that are very good to me for the most part. Excuse me. Darlington, Talladega, Gateway, Kentucky. Those have always been good tracks for me. So hopefully, just get locked into the playoff. Well, we're locked into the playoffs right now, but just make it through these next 2 weeks of chaos and get to the playoffs and get some tracks that are a little bit more familiar to, my feel and hopefully just be able to keep this train rolling and yeah, I mean that basic goal is right there. Just try to keep momentum flowing.
For sure. So, yeah, welcome back from the week off, and any friends, family, and sponsors you want to thank here tonight?
Absolutely. As always, I got to thank my wife, my kids. They're always supportive of me coming out here and doing this every Wednesday night. And whenever I do have that little bit extra time, sometimes I come out here. I can't thank them enough for what they do for me. Um, on the hood tonight and for the remainder of the season, we got Lucas Lyons with L3D designs, Line 3Ds. Uh, got Luke Haley, um, Big Fish Barbecue on the back. Thanks to the thanks to the league for everything that they do for us, putting this on week after week. Thanks to you for putting on the broadcast. I'm excited to go back and watch this one. Now I'm just ready to rest.
Well, enjoy the rest of the night here and get a good rest. We'll see you in the next one.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you.
Yep. Alrighty, and looks like the rest of our interviews. I hold tight while I call for interviews here. All right, so next up, we're going to go ahead and interview the number 19 of Justin Parham here tonight, who brought it home in second. Jacob in the booth here. Do you copy, Justin?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, how did you feel here tonight? It looked like it was kind of all around the board here. You had some great pace and managed to gain 12 spots here tonight. What all transpired to bring you up for a second place finish here?
Just working slowly, trying to take care of the tires, have the speed for the long run, especially since we didn't have no cautions other than the two-stage brake. So it was just trying to save tires and manage them for the long run. I believe we could have had a good race for the win between me, Redinger, and Walden until Jorge came up through there like an idiot, just booting all the leaders out of the way.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. I was watching as that all went down, and it made contact thrice. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on the third one. It looked like the 43 of Walden might have got loose in front of him, but he definitely did not let out. So, yeah,
Yeah. Walden got loose, so and Jorge was right there on him. So I'm not blaming that one on him, but him just driving straight through me and Kenneth and taking us out of contention, which Kenneth ended up winning because of what happened with Walden. But I think it could have came down to a 3-car battle for the win if all that wouldn't have happened.
Right. Well, at least you're able to recover there and still fight for, a good finish. Bringing it home second, of course, nothing to be ashamed of. What about for the rest of the season? What other tracks do you like on the calendar coming up here?
I don't even know what we've got coming up other than Atlanta this coming week, and then I think Martinsville. After that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you got
I'm fine with Atlanta. It's just a crapshoot with it being a super speedway. Not looking forward to Martinsville, and then well, just I don't like I said, I'm not sure what we've got coming up after that.
Gotcha. Yeah, we got Darlington and Talladega, Gateway, Kentucky, and Homestead to close out the season. That would be the playoff stretch, basically. So, but other than that, any friends, family, sponsors you want to thank here tonight?
Just the league for putting everything on and letting us get out here every week, and y'all for broadcasting, letting us go back and see how everything shook out.
Cool. Take it. Yeah, we'll see you next week at Atlanta. Enjoy your second place here tonight, and have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
And then with our final interview here tonight, we'll go ahead and pull in Kenneth Redinger. Jacob in the booth, do you copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, one of the longest races on the season. You were able to pull it into victory lane here tonight. I was personally wondering, did you bring the Lowe's paint scheme, kind of paying homage to Jimmy Johnson here, the track that he used to own back in the day when it was Lowe's Motorspeedway?
No, that was just an accident. I didn't have a chance to change the. I didn't notice the scheme was wrong before I got in. I went for this league, but I forgot to change it over.
Oh, so it's a coincidence, and it's a happy coincidence for sure.
Yep.
Well, how'd you feel about the racetrack here tonight? There was some wild moments in this one, definitely. Fortunately, you're able to resurge, bounce back, and still get the win here tonight. But man, take me through it a little bit. How'd you feel?
Yeah, it was a good race. It just at the end they had a lap down cars. They played too much of a role at the end of that. I don't know who the 44 is. He ran through two of us, and I think he got the leader after he got. I think the leader got loose, and he finished him off to make sure he crashed. So, and then he even gets on the radio and says, "Get out of the way. I have new tires."
Wow.
I mean, I don't know what you're supposed to do when you're racing for the lead and with 5 to go.
Right.
Just pull over make sure you're out of the way for a lap down car that ain't racing for nothing.
No, it's beyond wild. I was sitting here kind of in amazement. I couldn't keep up with it because as soon as I pulled up a replay, and each time it would happen again, it was like no cautions here tonight. So it was pretty much nonstop from the green flag to checkers, and everyone out there put on quite a show apart from that brief moment there in time. So how about Atlanta next week? How are you feeling for Atlanta?
Pretty good. It's I think that's the is that the new Atlanta, so it's going to be pretty even. I don't know. We're going to see what happens there. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of wrecks, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, and you broke the trend. You were the first one to 2 victories this season. We had 7 races with 7 different winners, and you become our first 2-time winner here on race number 8. So is any friends, family, sponsors you want to thank here tonight?
Yeah, just shout out to the league for putting everything on, and it's a lot of work that goes into this.
Cool. Well, we'll see you next week at Atlanta. Hopefully have a good night and enjoy this victory.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, folks. That is a wrap here tonight for Intensity Broadcasting. Kenneth Redinger brings it home for the second win on the season, and things just starting to get heated up as the season starts its second half push here. Regular season will be coming to a close here shortly, and then the playoffs happen. So we'll see how these racers tackle Atlanta next week. We'll have Atlanta and Martinsville, and then a 2-week hiatus for the holidays. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. This was the longest race this season. The rest, they're still going to be pretty endurance length. Kind of run like in an Xfinity length races in this series, but this one was definitely the longer one here. So thanks for staying tuned, folks. It's 11:48 on the East Coast, only 8:48 here on the Pacific Coast. And so have a great night. Stay safe out there. Thanks again. And enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next week at Atlanta.